Hello. So I've spent all day doing this video, obviously waiting for things to dry and then changing my mind. So the colour that's on there now, the peacock blue colour, is what the colour of my sitting room wall is. So all I did was I give the whole table a coat of that, decided that I didn't like the colour in block, so I sprayed it with some white that I'm doing now. And then I thought I was going to jelly plate over the top of that, jelly print over the top of that, but I didn't like it again. So I sprayed the whole thing, and then before it was dry, I went over with the brayer. And I did this for texture because one of the little pups decided to chew the corner of the table. I was actually planning on doing a talkie video all the way through, but of course I had the help in the garden as well. So I've still got puppy Tourette's. So anyway, so all I've done here is I've sprayed it with chalk paint, white chalk paint, and it's just from Aldi, I believe, the chalk paint. And then what I've done is I've gone over with the brayer just to create some texture, just to make it look worn, make it so it looks like it's got texture without having too much texture. And then what I'm doing here is I'm going back over it again, and it's so in places you can see where it's the turquoisey colour, you can see where I've gone over with the brayer, where it's thicker white, where some of the other colours are shown through, and it looks really, I really quite like it. I've very nearly left it as is, but I really, really want to do some jelly printing on some furniture. I have jelly printed bags, I have jelly printed pretty much a lot of things. I did plant pots and things. Sorry, not very good at voiceover. I've had to actually come upstairs because the bird was going nuts. So all I'm doing is I'm going over everything again with the chalk paint. The table I'm working on is my garden table, which I do have some paint to paint it. So I'm just working on it. Like, I normally put a sheet down, but I'm gonna paint it anyway for next year. So I'm just going for it. So I'm using here a magenta, an elephant grey colour. I've got a teal blue, a green, I've got a yellow, and I went and got some leaves as well. So you can see in my garden, I've got a massive tree next to the house, and every single one of those leaves has landed in my garden. So I thought, why not just use them? I'm going to add some decoupage papers I've added over at the end, so we'll see that. So all I'm doing here is I'm popping the leaf on to make some texture. I don't think it does very well. Waiting to see if it comes up. It doesn't show up very well on this one, but I like it anyway. And again, I'm not going for a pattern as such. I just want to get a really worn, really textury look to it. I definitely don't want a pattern, because if it goes wrong halfway through, or one isn't straight or it's not even, it will drive us crazy when I can see it. So I'm striving for perfectly imperfect. I use a burnt umber as well. Excuse me. Just to give it a vintagey effect that I'm going for. It's all quite bright, but I wanted it to be a little bit more vintage as well. So I take the leaves, and this time I go over with the paper, and that takes something off, and you get a much better print pushing it down like that. And it looks, wait until you see it, it looks so good. Again, I'm not going for perfect prints either. I want it to look worn. I want it to look a little bit aged, modern, but aged, and I still want some colour. So I'm going for a lot. And I mean, I'm quite pleased with it. Even Christopher, when he came down and he saw the table, he went, oh, wow. So I am doing a print and then a ghost print as well. So I get uneven prints. I don't want them all perfect. I want them to be quite mismatched. I'm not doing anything symmetrical. I just want them to be, I want it to be quite relaxed, to be honest. Sorry, I think I'm getting a cold, you know. So here I've added a teal, the magenta, and then a little bit of the elephant grey. My sitting room is the peacock blue teal and a really light grey. So I want it to fit in with the sitting room, but I also want a pop of other colours in, hence I'm adding the magenta. I do have some huge teacups that I'm going to paint as well that live on top of a unit I've got. So watch this space. It might be summer when I do them though, because the weather's getting worse and nothing dried outside. I'm actually jelly printing and the chalk paint underneath is still quite wet, which I really quite like the look. Oh, we're not all in the frame either, dear me. Anyway, you will see it all. I do take the wet table into the kitchen and dry it off with a hairdryer once it's all jelly printed. But as we go, you know. So I'm not live tonight because I have spent all day doing this, and I realised that I've got 2 puppies and a child and a bird that all need looked after as well. But I've had a lovely day. I also had some other things to do which didn't get done. I said in my live last time, I'm really trying to make my house look like humans inhabit it. So I've been tidying up the sitting room. I've given it a lick of paint. Next is my bedroom, and then after Christmas it's the Room of Doom craft room, which I want all sorting out. I want to save up and get some new furniture, and then hopefully I'll be able to video in there without too much hassle, and the dogs will be able to come in. I did have shelves all up on the walls and things, but a whole load collapsed and I'm never getting them fixed. So literally, like, my craft stuff is a heap. It's boxes on top of boxes, and I've got quite a bit of it. So I'm also thinking as well, I do need to declutter a little bit. So there might be some bargains coming on some stuff, which I've had for quite a while. So you might not want to miss out on that. Again, look at the leaves. They look so cool with the green. I'm adding obviously the teal, and then I'm going in with this green colour as well, because again I do add decoupage over the top so the colours all mix and match in. This is the same with the yellow. There is some rollers there which are rollers that you can make texture into clay with, which of course I'm using on the jelly plate. They'll never just be used for one thing. I think the pastry rollers, but when you see that, they're fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So I'm using stencils, just random stencils, random patterns, because I didn't want the background to take over too much, but I still wanted to be able to see it. To be honest, I think this would be absolutely lovely on a bag as well. I do. I think, watch this space, because I do need a new bag. I've had the bag that I did the fabric for quite a while. So I think I might have to get my mother, to make me a new one if I print the fabric. Also, I am doing a month of Christmas lives. I won't do 3 Christmas lives a week because we'll all end up insane, but there will be at least 1 or 2 and maybe as a video each week of Christmas ideas. So Sunday, I'm thinking we could make a start on doing some fast, easy Christmas cards and tags and things. And because I haven't made any yet, I know everybody else is so organised and wonderful, and I haven't made any, not one. So I do need some cards. So I'm thinking 4x4 size cards, and I've got some really, really cute vintage Christmas stickers on the website, which so easy to make. I'm thinking if I grab one of the vintage colour create kits and the vintage stickers, we can magic up some wonderful cards in a few minutes there. This is the roller. It's so good. I mean, you can't use it on food once you've used it in craft, unless it's just for yourself. Even then I'd be wary. But it's so good. Watch when I put it down. It is lovely. Absolutely lovely. So I do want to do something with clay as well. I want to do something with clay and the roller as well. And the Christmas tree that was started the other day, I do need to put pictures of that up as well as the last couple of projects. Again, let's see, I'm just trying to get a little bit more organised before Christmas. Craft has been my whole life for the past 6-7 years, and I haven't really had time to do anything else. And it's just getting to a point now where I need to sort it out because it doesn't look like it's just crazy. So that is the plan. Again, I'm going back in with the leaves and the paper to take some of the paint off around the edges so we'll see the leaf print better. It does work out much better like this. And you can use all sorts. It doesn't just have to be leaves. You can use flowers, you can use bubble wrap, you can use other kitchen utensils. You can make with your own, like a blunt tool. You don't ever want to use anything sharp on a jelly plate. But you can also use string, ribbon, lace. It's endless what you can do on a jelly plate. So all I'm doing here is all the little areas which haven't got any prints on, I'm just filling in with what's left on the jelly plate. And I don't think we've got much more to do. I think I've got a bit round the side to do, which unfortunately I don't think you're going to be able to see. I didn't realise I'd cut the top bit of the table off. But it'll just take a second. And then we're going to do something fun with the legs and around the edge, which they weren't fully dry at the end of the video. So I'm going to do something with them tomorrow, maybe. And I will seal the whole thing with an acrylic varnish, just because it's a little coffee table. We need somewhere to... Christopher needs a coffee table. I don't know why, but he does. So it will need to be acrylic varnished, and then probably coasters still need to be used. You can get a varnish called Frenchie matte tough top coat, and it's really good. I've used it quite a bit on other projects. I've used it on the plant pots. I've used it on like wooden. I've never used it on furniture because I've never really done a bit of furniture that's going to need, like, it needs to be sealed that much. I've always just used a wax. But yes, so I told a lie. I've still got a little bit round the edge to do, but bear with, we are getting there. So again, just different stencils, all different patterns. So there's nothing matching all the way through. Just because perfectly imperfect is easier than driving yourself crazy if something is not straight or a pattern doesn't match up or something. And again, I'm waffling a lot. I'm really sorry. It's a 30-minute video. Normally I speed them up, but I thought really it would be nice to see it in real time. I say real time. It does take longer. I do cut a little bit off as we go, but there we go. That is that done. So I'm just going to clean the jelly plate up and then pop it away. And I do come back. I think I knocked the video off so you don't have to watch us clean. But then I do come back to show you what I'm doing with the edges. So again, the table's just for me. I'm not too bothered about underneath. If you are making furniture or things as a gift, you really want to paint underneath as well, because it just finishes everything off. If I was going to sell this or give it away, I would definitely paint the underneath of the table, probably the same as the legs and the edges. So I've took a spatula, I'm using the same colours that I used on the jelly plate, and I'm just popping it on. I want it to look like peeled paint. I want it to look like it's been painted 100 times and the paint's coming off. Like I say, this is still wet, but what I am going to do tomorrow is I'm going to go back over with some of the grey and take some of the colour back so it's not as pink and not as blue, because the top of the table with us working onto the damp chalk paint, it's a little bit more muted. So that's what I do around the whole table. Now we are back in the kitchen with really bad light, and this is the decoupage paper. I made this over the last couple of days because I wanted the flowers quite big. I can add it to the website. All you have to do is shout if you would like this sort of thing. It's a 50 GSM decoupage paper. So I've just cut them all out and I'm just placing them where I would like them now. I have daisies. I have other flowers. I don't know what they are. I did some leaves as well. And they're quite a modern flower. I don't think I end up putting them back where I'm putting them out now, but I'm quite happy with it. I do end up getting the hairdryer out and drying the whole table. That's what the skip was. I did the edges and the legs, and then I came back in the kitchen because nothing is drying outside. It's just too cold at the minute. But I love this. I use a acrylic matte medium to glue them on. And I was actually adding it to the back of the decoupage paper as well, and then the table. But because it's an extra thick one, I realised I didn't actually have to do that. I could just pop it on the table and then spread it over the top of the decoupage paper. Hey, look at my roots. Dear me. Well, that's a shock. I didn't realise I was grey on the top as well as the sides. Dear me. Anyway, so I'm just spacing it out. I think I need to do my roots tomorrow. My life. And that little bit there at the top where I've just popped those leaves is where little Luna decided to have a chew on my table. So all I'm going to do is, I don't know what I'm doing now. I'm going to pop them on. So I move them all without without taking a picture and wanting to put them back where they were. So we'll see now if I do get them back in the right place. I thought about adding stamping to it before I put the flowers down. I thought about adding some more stenciling. But you know what? I really quite like it a little bit more plain. I could have went totally crazy with it and added the edges on and added more stencils. But I just like it how it is. What I do at the end though is I do wax over the top. Even though I've just said I was going to put an acrylic spray on, I still will do that in a couple of days. But I wanted to put some dark wax over the flowers so it's a bit more vintagey, but I end up putting it pretty much all over the table and then I wipe it back. And I love the look of it, but it needs to be a tougher finish than just the wax, I think, for being a table. So what I found with the acrylic glue gel medium is I didn't have to keep gluing the back of the flowers. I mean, you can if you want. And I know other people use Mod Podge on the furniture. They use a sealer to put the decoupage on. But I just find acrylic medium just sticks and it stays stuck for good. So all I was thinking was when I was only going to put it around one corner at first, but all I was thinking about was hiding that little bit where Luna had chewed, or at least making it less noticeable. So I added it on the other side as well, and it does look, I think it does look a little bit better than what I thought it was, than just having the one side. But you could add stamping into this. You could add forward stitching around the jelly plate between each jelly print. Treat it like a different substrate to paper crafting. So if you're a paper crafter and you design a card or a journal page or something like that, just look at it as a bigger version of that. As long as you primed your surface properly, you've cleaned it, primed it, and you use permanent products or products made for home decor, really. Like acrylic paint's perfect, but you can get so many different home decor products now that it's really easy to get. It's not as expensive as it used to be, some of it, so quite a bit of it's more affordable now. And you can make your own sort of chalk paint by adding plaster to wall paint. I've never done it because I find there's a lot of chalk paint out there which is just as cheap as wall paint, if not a little bit cheaper sometimes, especially for if you're doing projects like this. You don't need an awful lot. If you're doing a big side unit or whatever, then it might be like a big Welsh dresser or something. It might be more money saving to make your own, but you can find loads of videos on YouTube on how to make your own chalk paint and things. I'm adding in some foliage here as well, just to add a little bit of greenery. With using the leaves and the jelly prints, I thought these would look pretty cool in as well. We do have a little bit of a fight with some leaves at some point, but it's fine, it all works out. So yes, live on Sunday we're going to do more Christmas. Tuesday, I don't know yet, but I think it'll probably be Christmas as well. We've got a lot of Christmas to do. I've got loads of ideas for gifts. And if you are still here and I haven't bored you to death with my waffle, please do subscribe and give me a video a thumbs up, because it really, really, really helps. And YouTube is just so hard to grow. Obviously, I'm not the best at technology, and I'm not the best at doing voiceovers and things. I've got a busy house. It's crazy. I've got dogs. I've got a kid. I've got a bird. So doing the voiceovers is a lot easier for me than trying to talk over a video as I'm doing it. But the plan is to be able to do that eventually. Eventually, hopefully, fingers crossed. I do have a Facebook group as well, which is Emma's Happy Place Arts and Crafts. I do think you should go and join it because it's full of the most wonderful, helpful, amazing, talented people who share work all the time. And if you ever need any help, they're there to help. All questions will be answered. You can probably hear the dog barking right now. Should probably see our own shadow in the window. A reflection. She never ever barks unless she's looking out the window. And it's not even people, it's often our own reflection. She's so funny. And Luna is learning to do exactly the same. So I've got two mad little puppies. So there's the bit that she ate. And I'm just going to pop this on there to try and hide it. I don't think it does a very good job of hiding it, but kind of. It does the trick. It's my table, so it's fine. So again, all I'm doing is building up. You can still see all the lovely jelly printing behind. This is where I decide that I don't need to add the glue to the back of the decoupage paper as well. As long as you smooth over the top and you've got a good coating on the table, the gel medium is absolutely fine. I found that putting it on both sides, it slipped a little bit. Because of the gel medium being so thick. You can actually add a little bit of water. If you've got extra thick gel medium, you could add a little bit water to it so it's not as thick to use. But when you're using this as well, the acrylic is sort of sealing it as you go, so it's sealing over the top of the flowers. It is sealing the paint underneath, and I just like it. Obviously, everybody's got their own products and things that they like, but I really, really like acrylic mediums, gel mediums. I love a matte medium. I do think when you're doing furniture though, a satin could make it all pop, or a glossy could make it all pop that little bit more. But I'm purely a matte. I don't know why. Everything's matte. Even I don't even use gloss on. Well, I can't because of the bird. I've been emulsioning for quite a few years now, just using emulsion on the doors and things. And I don't think I'll ever change it now because I like it. And I use, the scribbable paint you can get. I use that instead of using gloss or satin. Just because, well, you can't use any aerosols or things around the bird. You just got to be extra careful. So this is where I had a fight with the leaves. It all works out in the end. I just popped another leaf on top. But we are very, very nearly there. And if you haven't muted us by now, well done. Well done you. Listening to all of this. Oh, come on, Emma. Dear me. It's painful to watch, when you're watching yourself back and you can see yourself doing stuff. But we are very nearly there, and I love the table. I did take a picture in the sitting room as well, but again, it was getting dark. So I think what I will do is I'll take some pictures and pop them in the community tab and onto Facebook tomorrow when it's nice. I might even go outside if it's not raining and get a picture. There we go. Small leaves on top. Fixed. You would never know it went wrong. And then the flower hides the rest of it. There we go. Perfect. So when I turn the camera off, I do notice a couple of bits and add a couple of extra leaves onto the actual arrangement, but it's nothing. You've seen how I did it. It's just a couple of extra leaves just to make it a little bit more up. And there's the sides, how they're looking now that I've hair dried them. So they will be muted down as well. So this is the wax I use. This is a clear wax. And if you pop a clear wax on first, before you put a dark wax on, it then makes it easier to take some of the dark wax away. So I'm going to go over with clear wax here over the flowers. And then I go over with the dark, which means if you leave it for a little while, it will sort of set in. But what I did was, because I didn't want it to be really, really dark. What I wanted mostly was it to catch the edges of the flowers to create a shadow more than anything else. So you know how I go around with the watercolour when I'm in an art journal and things? I wanted to give that effect so I didn't have to come back in and do it with paint and things later, because I didn't want to hide as much of the Gelli printing as I wanted to be able to see it. So this is what I do with the dark. I go over the top of the flowers, catching the edges of the flower, catching the edges where the paper's at, like a midgie's eyelash, higher than the actual paint. And then I just take a paper towel and I rub it back, and it kind of gives the edge of it. It's like inking around the edges of your images that go in your art journal. It gives that same effect, but it also makes it a little bit more vintage and hides any little mistakes and things. So I like how it grabs certain places of the flowers where the acrylic's still a little bit wet or a little bit higher, or I love the way it looks. I'm really, really pleased with it. I do understand it's not everybody's taste, but there we go, all done, and you get to stop listening to me. And here it is in my sitting room. Lots of love, and I will see you Sunday at 7 p.m. Bye for now.